Warning. This video will not be edited with a ton of beeps, bops, and boops, so if you're looking for that kind of instant gratification learning, this is not the place. But if you are looking for some immense value and you're just trying to sit down and listen and kind of relax in a way, this is the place.
Hi, my name's Christian Paul, and this is me 8 months after I started lifting, a little before and after, I guess you could say, except this is not much of a before and after, because honestly, there's barely any difference between these photos. I gained not much weight. It was a struggle to put on any weight, strength, or muscle. I'm sure you can relate if you're a skinnier guy trying to bulk up, but I trialed and erred like a mad scientist, and I figured out why I wasn't making gains and how to substantially increase the gains I was making as a skinny guy. That's exactly what I'm sharing in this video. A little over a year later, my strength, physique, and my weight, it skyrocketed. This is me nowadays at the ripe age of 18 years old. These pictures were taken in the past month. It is crazy to say. These two pictures, they're not even 2 years apart. They're not a full 2 years apart. But if you're a skinnier guy and you're struggling to make progress, chances are at least one piece of advice from this video will help you. So first up, my training. So back in the day, I was kind of arrogant. I thought I had it all figured out. I watched Jeff Nippard once and I was like, okay, I'm an expert. I did not have it figured out. Okay. For one, I had way too much variety in my workouts. Say I was training arms, specifically my biceps, I would do like 4 different exercises. And that is way too much. You do not need that many exercises. I also did not track my weight, my reps, or anything, which made it damn near impossible to progressive overload, which is the most important thing when it comes to making gains. The only reason not tracking works for people like Sam Sulek is because he is on copious amounts of this stuff, gear. He is on gear. He takes a lot of steroids, and he has very gifted genetics. Lastly, I trained like a pussy. Just to put it bluntly, I rarely went to failure. I thought I was going to failure. That's the thing, but I didn't know what true failure looked like. And later in this video, I will explain what true failure looks like. So here's what I did. First, I simplified my workouts. Okay, 2 to 3 exercises per muscle group. That is plenty. For the smaller muscle groups, 2 exercises is great. For the bigger muscle groups like chest and back, 3 exercises is plenty. Consistency. I became more consistent. I don't mean like showing up to the gym more. Of course, if you're not showing up to the gym, you're not going to make gains. But I mean consistency within the workout. Those 2 to 3 exercises I selected per muscle group, I would do the same ones every single workout, right? Every single chest back day, I do the same ones. Every single arm day, every single leg day. I wouldn't switch up and have like a ton of variety because it's very hard to track your workouts when you're doing that. And that leads me smoothly into my next point. I tracked my workouts. I started tracking my workouts in my Notes app. People use some like fancy gizmos and gadgets, some app they pay like $40 a year for. Notes app works great. It is a great app. Specifically, I tracked my weight, my reps, and other specifics. These two are obvious, but what I mean by specifics is like, say I got interrupted mid-set. Obviously, that's probably going to change the amount of reps I do. So I'll write that down, even though it is kind of insignificant. It's good to know. It's good to know. Also, in the vein of consistency, I started having the same rest times in between sets. Before, I wouldn't even track the rest times in between my sets. I wouldn't set a timer or anything. So I started setting a timer, and I kept it consistent because if you're not consistently resting the same amount of time, you're going to be doing different amounts of reps, and it's going to confuse you over time. But last but not least, I went to true failure. And this here, in the training aspect, this is what really was the game changer. I think a lot of people struggle with this. Like, I've seen people work out. I've worked out with my friends. Just seeing people online too. Like, people don't go to true failure. And, you can say whatever you want. In my opinion, true failure is when you can't even do one partial rep, right? Say you're doing bicep curls. You go all the way to the bottom, you get that full stretch, and you can't even, like, cheat a half rep. That is failure. That is working the muscle to the point where it cannot move anymore. I also started drop setting at least 2 sets. You don't got to drop set 2 sets, honestly. I just do it because it gives me a juicier pub personally. But I started drop setting quite often. If you don't know what drop setting is, say you're using 30 pounds for a set. Right after you go to failure on those 30 pounds, you pick up, say, 15 pounds and you go right at it, like instantly, right after. This really helped me ensure I was going to failure. And also, it just hurts so much. You know the muscle is being torn apart, which is exactly what you want. I also started supersetting on muscle groups with 3 workouts, right? Like chest and back, because it is a lot faster and more efficient. And honestly, it gives me so much of a better pump when I do superset. Say I do bench, right? That's standalone. I just bench by itself. And then the next workouts I would do would be incline dumbbell and then say pec fly. Instead of doing incline dumbbell and pec fly by themselves, I would superset them, right? I would do them together, one after another. And sure, you can't do as much weight on each, but it really breaks the muscle down and it really gives you a good pump. Like a good pump, that's what we're all doing it for, you know what I mean? Diet, I chose purple. I like the color purple. It's my favorite color. I also thought I had diet all figured out. No, I did not. I ate like significantly under the macros that I thought I was. I needed to be in a surplus. If you're skinny, you need to bulk up, right? And I was in a deficit most days. I just was not eating enough. And this was in part due to my other bad habits, like always playing video games and, this and that. It kind of hindered my ability to keep track of what I'm eating. But I also was just kind of dumb, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm totally eating enough. So here's what I did. I tracked my macros for 1 week, meticulously every single day. I tracked my macros, and I figured out what was in the foods that I was eating, and then I ate according to that, right? And I got into an eating routine, and what I mean by this is I would eat mainly the same things every day, or like the same things throughout the week, right? Obviously, I would switch it up sometimes. Mom would make a different dinner, but I would eat mainly the same things. And I started drinking liquid calories. In fact, I have a bulking shake right next to me as we speak. I got new protein powder, banana cream protein powder. The shit's great. And speaking of protein powder, I started using protein powder. I used to be kind of against it, like, oh, yeah, no, that's stupid. Just get it from foods. And maybe it's just because I was undisciplined, but I could not get it from foods. I could, but like it was very inconvenient, especially with school and training, and I worked at a grocery store at the time, so that was like evening hours, so my time was kind of jam-packed, so it was kind of hard to find time to get like high protein, to cook up high protein food. So protein powder was a godsend. And also on tracking macros, I recently just started tracking all of my macros all the time on the app Stupid Simple Macro Tracker. You don't have to track your macros. As long as you know what you're eating, you'll be all right. I will say tracking macros is good. You are more likely to make progress if you are actively tracking your macros. But I know some people are just kind of like, I don't want to do that. You do not have to make progress. This is a very concise video, very simple video, but hopefully you gained something from it. These are definitely some things that were hindering me. At the end of the day, most of the time, if you're not making progress, it is probably 1 or 2 basic things that you are not implementing or you're not staying on top of that is causing you not to progress, right? It's usually not a very complex issue. But join my Discord, boy. It's called the Bulk Dungeon. This is me in the dungeon. I swear it's not kinky or anything. You can come join me. It is not kinky. Link in the description. And if you're trying to get aesthetic and you want some help from wee old me, link in the description to apply for one-on-one coaching. I'll see you there.